that aside, okay, so that brings us then, I think, to the question of the week.
Yes.
Okay.
It's time.
I'm excited about this week's question of the week because this week's question of the week comes from me.
Oh.
And so my question of the week for you, Greg, is two-part. First, have you switched to T-Mobile yet? And if not, why not?
You know the answer to both of those questions.
I know. I definitely, I think I know the answer to one, but I definitely don't know the why not part.
I have not switched to T-Mobile yet. Unfortunately, I got a new phone not all that long ago, and so the incentive to switch, where they give you like a discount off a new phone, is not tempting to me. I mean, I know I guess I could get one and sell it or whatever, but I think honestly that's probably the main hang up because for a while I resisted because right now I'm personally on Google Fi, and I love that back in the days when I traveled internationally.
Right. It made sense at that point.
Yeah. But T-Mobile's not that much worse I mean, you still get international data, very slow, but then you could pay only $5 a day to get high speed when you're traveling. Yeah. So it's not a bad at all, I think, compromise. So really there's not necessarily a good reason for me not to switch, but I haven't done it.
But you haven't done it.
And I am very jealous every time you post about all these free lines you're getting.
They just keep throwing them away. It's like it's crazy. I enjoy the fact that we have it now also because of the fact that if and when we do travel internationally again, it's just convenient having phones that work when you get there. And that's the nice thing with Google Fi. Also, of course, that just works when you land and you turn it on, you wait a couple minutes and then boom, you're on and you're going. I mean, that's terrific. Yep. So like you said, the problem with T-Mobile internationally is that the speeds are slow, except in Mexico and Canada. You get 5G in Mexico and Canada, or 4G LTE, whatever it is, depending where you are in Mexico and Canada. So you do get good speeds there, but if you go to Europe or Asia or whatever else, you get a really slow speed. But they keep throwing these free lines at us, and so it's hard to say no. I wrote this week about the latest one, and so they gave away 4 free lines last year, and that's 1 so far this year. And I'm not sure I read, part of the reason I asked this, of course, was because I wrote the post this week about the fact that they're giving a free line. If you have 2 paid lines or more on T-Mobile, then you can get a free line right now. And depending on your plan, you may end up having to pay taxes on that free line every month, like $5 a month or something. But with a number of plans also, my plan included, both my old plan and my new plan, because I switched, it doesn't cost anything at all. It's literally no additional fee on my bill. I just got a free line, and it gets the same plan as the rest of your lines. So, in my case now, I'm on Magenta Max, which is the top end plan that T-Mobile offers, totally unlimited, no throttle on the data, 40 gigs of hotspot per line, which is just like way more than you get with anybody else for hotspot. And the free lines get that too without having to pay for it. So, yeah. And I read that this is only going to be available until Monday. I don't know if that's true, but I wanted to bring it up for people who are on T-Mobile who aren't familiar with it, because you can add a free line, and then there's a number of phones that you get for free when you add a line, including a free line. So you pick up a phone and sell it, give it to somebody, donate it, whatever else you want to do with it. If you want to get one of those things, I got a phone for a family member, cheap because I added a new line. So I think it's worth doing if you're on T-Mobile. There's a lot of different things you could do with that free line in terms of being able to take advantage of more T-Mobile Tuesdays deals and being able to take advantage of T-Mobile money to deposit money and earn good interest and blah, blah. There's a lot of reasons. And so I'm asking myself, why isn't Greg on T-Mobile yet? Why isn't he on T-Mobile?
I would have to have 2 lines, right, on T-Mobile in order to qualify for a free line.
You do. You need 2 paid lines in order to get the free line.
So it wouldn't be just me porting over, but one of my family members who are on AT&T and there are places we go where AT&T has coverage and the other networks.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least T-Mobile doesn't.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's certainly a concern. Yeah, so that maybe that's a valid reason. It's a valid reason. Although,
it's tough. I hate.
Yeah,
yeah, I hate sitting on the sidelines on that deal.
yeah,
That's such a smoking
no,
deal.
yeah, they and they keep doing it. That's the crazy thing. I can't believe that they keep. You asked me part of the reason I brought this up was because Greg asked me recently. He said, do you think they'll continue to do these free lines? Should I switch and get a T-Mobile account? And I said, I don't know. I mean, they did 4 of them last year. Who knows? Maybe they will. And then bam, like a couple weeks later here, out with another free line. And I just I keep shaking my head. I have 3 paid lines now and 4 free lines. And from what I've read, there are other people that have even more free lines. I think you can have up to 8 lines on a regular plan, but then it's possible to get authorized for up to 12 lines. And
wow,
there may even be a possibility for 15 from what I read. But I just saw a data point from somebody, I think, commented on our post that said that they were told they were at the max with 8, but the rep was able to switch their account around and put them on the 9 to 12 so they could have up to 12 lines now. And
this is always paying for just 2 lines?
You have to have at least 2 paid lines. And in my case, I have 3 paid lines because I didn't know any better back in the day and paid for 3 lines. And if
why didn't you drop one of the 3 when you got a free one?
That's how they get you. That's how they get you. When you add the free line, you can't drop any of your paid lines or any of your lines for 12 months. Otherwise, so if I tried to drop one of my paid lines now, then the free line would no longer be free. The way they do it is they give you.
So they keep offering this promo every few months because they're afraid you're gonna get to your 12-month point and start dropping lines.
Exactly. And so now it's just reset this week. I got to wait another 12 months before I could consider dropping one of those paid lines and keeping my various free lines. But at this point, 3 paid and 4 free is pretty good. And I've read about people who have 6 or 7 free lines. So, I mean, that's nuts to me. I can't believe that continues going on. You keep it as long as you keep your plan. Now, if you switch your plan at some point in the future, there's the possibility that you won't be able to keep those free lines. I was able to switch and keep my free line. So it depends on your situation and which plans you're switching from and to. And you can't add the free line if you're on like the military plan or the first responder plan or the 55 plus plan. So there's some restrictions and stuff. You can read it in the post. Link will be in the description, but I think it's a good deal for people who are.
So you have all these free lines. They each have all this like hotspot data that they can provide. Are you now using it as your primary internet? Or are you still for cable or whatever you use?
So I also have T-Mobile home internet, but the coverage isn't always great. And if I want to work outside or wherever else, it's kind of a pain to bring it outside, blah, blah, blah. So I use my mobile hotspot very frequently on my phones, quite a bit, in fact. And in fact, the mobile hotspot is faster because 5G here, where I live in the countryside in the middle of nowhere, I'm getting around 70 megs down and around 35 or 40 up. And the home internet is much, much less than that. It's 4G, so it's much less than that. So you could conceivably think about getting rid of it. Of course, I don't know. I like to stream things and whatnot, so I don't want to run up against the cap. But I certainly, when I switched plans from my old plan to this one. My old plan had up to 50 gigabytes of data on each line before it would get throttled. And so when I switched to this new one, it's got unlimited regular data on your phone, but up to 40 gigs of hotspot data. And so I thought, well, maybe I'm taking a little bit of a downgrade, but it turned out it was a little cheaper. And I said, well, I could add another line in the future and still pay a little bit less than I had been. And maybe they'll offer a free line and I won't even have to worry about paying for that extra line.
Yeah, never know.
Pick up even more. And sure enough, here we are just a few weeks later and they added that. So that's nice. The other thing that's nice is because there's no cap at all on the data on the phone and they do full 4K streaming and all the rest of that. Now, when I have to upload something that's very data heavy, I'm just moving it over my phone first and then uploading it from my phone. So for example, this podcast, when I upload it to YouTube, this file is like 8 or 9 gigabytes when I'm processing it. And so I'm just uploading it directly from my phone. I just plug my phone into the computer, drop the file.
That's hilarious.
Upload it from the phone.
Yeah. Yeah. And that doesn't count against your cap.
Doesn't count against my cap from the phone. And it flies by because it's going at, 70 megs. So it's so anyway. I'm a fan at this point. I'm a fan.
Wow. I feel like you need to just get a keyboard, a Bluetooth keyboard, and a screen that attaches to your phone, and just use that as your PC.
That could be it. I do have a Bluetooth keyboard actually that I used to use with a phone years ago when it was much slower and more frustrating. Now with how fast phones have gotten, that's not as crazy as it sounds.
Right. It's certainly possible.
Yeah.
All right.
That, my friends, brings us to the end for this week. So
that's
if you've been
the show.
been enjoying what we've been talking about and you'd like to get these posts as soon as they come hot off the presses, you want to go to frequentmiler.com/subscribe. Again, that's frequentmiler.com/subscribe to get on our email list. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter and join our Facebook group. If you're watching this or if you're listening to this in podcast form, give us a thumbs up, give us a like, leave us a comment. If you're watching this on YouTube, please hit subscribe, ding the notification bell so you find out as soon as we publish new videos each week. Thank you very much for being out there with us. We will see you guys again next week.
And go catch up on the other 89 episodes if you haven't listened to them all.
That's right. You got some work. You got some yard work to do this weekend, guys. Yard work.
A lot of yard work.
A lot of yard work.
All right. Bye, everybody.